Okay, last video, and should be a quick one. So a well-designed experiment tells us that changes in the explanatory variable cause changes in the response variable. More precisely, it tells us that uh, this happened for specific individuals in the specific environment of this specific experiment. A serious threat is that the treatments, the subjects, or the environment of our experiment may not be realistic. So we're going to say that we're going to call this a lack of um, realism. So lack of realism can limit our ability to apply the conclusions of an experiment to the settings of greatest interest. So, do those high center brake lights required on all cars sold in the United States since 1986 really reduce rear-end collisions? Randomized comparative experiments with fleets of rental and business cars done before the lights were required showed that the third brake light reduced rear-end collisions by as much as 50%, but requiring the third light in all cars led only to a 5% drop. What happened? Most cars did not have the extra brake light when the experiment were carried out, so it caught the eye of following drivers. Now that almost all cars have the third light, they're no longer captured their attention. You're just kind of used to it. You're aware of it. So in some cases, it isn't practical or even ethical to do an experiment, such as does texting while driving increase the risk of having an accident? Does going to church regularly help people live longer? Does smoking cause lung cancer? To answer these cause and effect questions, we need to perform a randomized comparative experiment. Unfortunately, we can't randomly assign people to text while driving or attend church or to smoke cigarettes. So the best data we have about these and many other cause and effect questions come from observational studies. It is sometimes possible to build a strong case for causation in the absence of experiments. The evidence that smoking causes lung cancer is about as strong as non-experimental evidence can be. So doctors had observed that most lung cancer patients were smokers. Comparison of smokers and similar non-smokers showed a very strong association between smoking and death from lung cancer. Could the association be due to some variable? Is there some genetic factor that makes people more likely to get addicted to nicotine and to develop lung cancer? If so, then smoking and lung cancer would be strongly associated, even if smoking had no direct effect on the lungs. Or maybe confounding is to blame. It might be that smokers live unhealthy lives in other ways, like diet or alcohol, maybe lack of exercise, and that some other habit confounded with smoking is actually the cause of lung cancer. How were these objections overcome? Okay, so now what are the criteria for establishing causation when you can't do an experiment? The association has to be strong. The association between smoking and lung cancer is very strong. The association is consistent. The association is consistent. Many studies of different kinds of people in many countries link smoking to lung cancer. That reduces the chance of some other variable specific to one group or one study explains the association. Larger values of the explanatory variable are associated with stronger responses. People who smoke more cigarettes per day or who smoke over long periods get lung cancer more often. People who stop smoking reduce their risk. The alleged cause precedes the effect in time. Lung cancer develops after years of smoking. The number of men dying of lung cancer rose as smoking became more common, with the lag of about 30 years. Lung cancer kills more men than any other form of cancer. Lung cancer was rare among women until women began smoking. Lung cancer in women rose along with smoking, again with a lag of about 30 years, and now has now passed breast cancer as the leading cause of death among women. The alleged cause is plausible. Experiments with animals show that tars from cigarette smoke do cause cancer. Medical authorities do not hesitate to say that smoking causes lung cancer. The U.S. Surgeon General states that smoking cigarettes is the largest avoidable cause of death and disability in the United States. The evidence for causation is overwhelming, but it is not as strong as the evidence provided by a well-designed experiment. Conducting an experiment in which some subjects were forced to smoke and others were not would just be too unethical. So in cases like this, an observational study is going to be our best source of reliable information. And we are done.